Hello everybody, I'm Xany, and today I wanted to talk to you about one of the forgotten game modes in Team Fortress 2. I'm not talking about robot destruction, I'm not talking about special delivery, I'm going even further back than that. We're talking about territory control. And as it stands, there's only one territory control map in all of Team Fortress 2, and it's been in the game since the game launched in 2007. That's Hydro. Now, Hydro was in rotation for a while, and then it got dropped by Valve when they added the whole, this type of server runs these, this type of server runs payload, this type of server runs King of the Hill. There's no room for territory control, even while Doomsday and those other maps got shuffled into the capture the flag servers. Hydra was forgotten about, and for good reasons. The map itself isn't very well designed, it's extremely choke pointy and confusing to new players. Even though there is a tutorial video, I doubt most people will ever even watch it when they start it. But they brought it back with the miscellaneous, back when there was quick play, and now it's got down like in the lower area on the select your games. Now, territory control, to explain the concept of it if you're a bit iffy on it, there's 4 territories. Half of them are owned by red, half of them owned by blue, and then a base for each of you that's behind both your territories. The game will randomly select one territory from each team, and the blue will attack from their randomly selected and red will attack from their randomly selected, and you have to capture the other person's. If you capture it, you gain that territory. If you lose, they gain your territory, and it spins it again. So after the first round, one team owns 3 and one team owns 1, and it'll randomly attack that one. Once one team owns all 4, they would attack the final base, and the final bases are really bad. It's like a last point, but imagine if the last point was made of Swiss cheese and there was just an entrance from every single way you could possibly think of coming in. It's really bad. Now, while Hydro is really bad as a map, like I said, choke points everywhere, terribly designed. It suffers from the problems that a ton of the older maps suffer from, like Hoodoo, Gold Rush, all those sorts of maps, all those really old ones. Hydro, the concept of it, the territory control concept, is extremely interesting, and I think, if well implemented, could be an incredible map. Now, let me explain why. Imagine if each of these points was like process, because I like process a lot. So let's say one of the points is process second, and another one is process mid. So the entire map for that section would be one team trying to defend the mid, and one team trying to push this, or defend the second and push on the mid. It creates an attack defense style, while also holding a control point style of a map. And I think it's an interesting dynamic, especially because if one team wins, they own that point and they can attack. Now, the random nature of it makes it a bit weird, but also the whole fact that it's not going to be like a control point map. It's not going to be like attacking from one point on process to another. Each point is going to be designed on its own to be pushed onto and pushed off of. Now, like I said, with Hydro, this is terribly implemented. My biggest example of that is one of the maps is literally just one big hallway for like the whole middle fight area with a death pit in the middle of it. That's what separates it, but it's all just one big choke point. And that's what really defines Hydro as a map and what the whole territory control concept is. It's a control point in its own area, a middle fight ground, and a last point. If you could think of it a lot like Powerhouse, except ignore the mid being cappable, and both the last points are where you're trying to push out of, except each last point would be different looking and be its own area. One of my big things I thought of, like while I was thinking, what can you do to make Hydro like better, would be to let a team select where they're attacking from or where they're attacking, one or the other, and it would be like, I choose that I'm going to attack from here or attack from there. Maybe the winning team would get the choice and only the first round would be random. But I think that could add a lot of dynamic to it, because like I could be like, my team is really good at pushing out of the warehouse, but we're really bad on the satellite dish. And we would be like, okay, we're going to avoid satellite dish, but we're going to try focusing more on like fighting out of warehouse. But then the other team could take advantage of that. And I think that could be an interesting dynamic in the game. Now, another big problem with territory control is how badly it conveys what it is. But with payload, you understand it. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't understand what payload is. There's one big glowing cart that has to go down the railroad tracks and reach the end. One team is pushing it, one team is defending it. It's an extremely simple concept that most games have accepted nowadays. I mean, you see it in games like Overwatch and other games. And King of the Hill is just capture the point in the middle and hold it. That's all it is. It's a really simple game mode. You know, territory control, it's, okay, so you have these 2 bases, they have these 2 bases. You have to attack their base, gain control of it, and you have to gain control of all 4 of these middle points without letting them gain any. Then you can attack their base. The biggest example of this is nobody understands how to defend the last. I've seen it every time I play territory control. The defending team, big quotations around defending team, will all flow out like they're rushing to your point, and you just go around in the flank route and nobody will stop you. Literally nobody will be on the point. They're all going to be in the driveway area, or they're all going to be pushing up through the ramp if you're attacking on red. And that is like the biggest problem with how badly conveyed this map is. And I think with a lot of polish, the territory control game mode could be changed. Now, what could be different about it? What could change like with the maps to make them less choke pointy? I think it could take a lot, like I said, of inspiration from the 5CP style. And I think it would be really cool to see a map that was divided up like that was designed by one of these like 5 control point map people. But I don't know. That could be a lot of work for one of them. And I don't know how hard it is to design maps. I'm just kind of speculating here, but just hear me out. I think a map like Process is extremely good, but the problem with 5CP is in competitive there's too much of it. I mean, I love watching it because I understand what's going on, but to just a normal like viewer, they're going to be like, why do they keep playing the same type of map over and over again? I mean, you might point out the example of Counter-Strike, they play the same type of map over and over again, but variety is the spice of life, and throwing in a new game type could really make it a lot better. And I think with some work, territory control could have an amazing map if it was just worked out so it's not so choke pointy, so actually, you know, well designed, not like the early TF2 map. And I think that the whole idea behind the 4 areas is extremely interesting and could be expanded upon a lot more with the ability to pick where you're attacking to or where you're defending from. But I don't know, that's just me. Maybe you hate Hydro and you hate the whole territory control concept and it's like the worst thing ever. And maybe Hydro is just the worst map ever. I don't know. Maybe the concept to you is also really cool and it's like, whoa, I like these ideas this guy's throwing out. Or maybe you've got your own idea. I don't know. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this. I'm gonna go just